I tell other people all the time, it's not about the number of people that come out to a project. It's about if all four of us, we try to do a community service project and nobody show up, did the project get done? Did we feel good after it? That's what community service is.
From the Office of Institutional Advancement and Alumni Relations, this is Xavier Gold Live, the podcast highlighting stories of leadership, impact, and the Xavier spirit.
Welcome to Xavier Gold Live, your front row seat to the stories of Xavier alumni transforming passion into purpose. I'm Jemiah Stewart, a psychology major exploring the world of mass communication as my minor, hailing from the great city of Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm Amaya Sanford, a proud mass communication major from the Atlanta, Georgia. Together, we're committed to uncovering the stories, legacies, and lived experiences that continue to shape Xavier University. Can you believe it's already July? This summer is flying by.
For real, but we've been busy. We just wrapped up the Alumni Leadership Conference, and let me tell you, the energy was everything.
Literally. That weekend felt like a whole family reunion mixed with a LinkedIn masterclass.
Right? It was such a vibe. I swear every hallway conversation turned into some kind of career gym or life advice moment. Plus the food, top tier as always.
Look, Xavier's gonna feed you and your future, okay? Honestly though, it was inspiring seeing so many alumni pour back into the current students. You could really feel that Xavier pride. On this episode, we welcome Dwayne Aikens. As a man of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, Dwayne is a well-respected public speaker and life coach who is dedicated to encouraging and mentoring the next generation. He embodies Xavier's legacy through leadership, community outreach, and mentoring the next generation of future leaders.
That's not all of Dwayne Aikens' work. He is also the co-founder and executive director of We Lead Ours, a nonprofit organization that provides school and community-based enrichment programs for youth in Oakland, California. Dwayne is also involved in many civic and political initiatives. He has received many awards for his work, such as the Golden State Warriors Community Playmaker Award, the City of Oakland Champion Award. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Psychology from Xavier University of Louisiana and an MBA in Business Administration and Management from the University of Phoenix. Let's welcome Dwayne Aikens to the Xavier Go Live podcast.
Wow, y'all made me feel really important. Like y'all did y'all research.
Yes, we did.
Of course, it was not hard.
It was not
hard.
That's good. Y'all, so all of y'all Xavierites, y'all know that I'm searchable. So you want to make sure you build up your brand anytime you work in an entrepreneurial spaces. That's pretty much what we've been talking to the young people in the business classes here at YMTF. Is pretty much, it's all about you. When you open up the door in the morning, you got to make sure you're working on yourself and being present and putting your best foot out there. Because if you want to be an entrepreneur, nobody can help you.
Yeah.
Your team around you, you got to help build them up. They got to keep you motivated because it's a process to stay in business for 15 years. Mm-hmm. On top of that, running a nonprofit entity because you got to go and find all the money because you're not selling things, but you are promoting services.
Yes, I hear that. And speaking of your nonprofit organization, since you're the co-founder of We Lead Ours, could you tell me some more about that and what the mission behind it is?
Yeah, so the mission is pretty much, in short, we lead ours in the right direction. That is career exploration, service learning, college prep. Now we also do drug intervention support for the Oakland Unified School District as well as Marin County. So we try to be a full force, non-stop shop. If you're coming to us, you're going to get something with value. We bring in other folks that do different things around STEM and other areas to where we feel like young people need to learn about these things and see people that look like them in these positions. And our goal has always just been to make sure that we're guiding young people in the right direction. I'm truly excited to say that I have had 3 kids that's come through my program that's graduated from Xavier. I have had one that's graduated from Dillard, one that just crossed Alpha Phi Alpha at Clark, Atlanta, one that's graduated from Hampton, and one that also crossed Alpha and graduated from Pepperdine. So, and I have others that are in college doing some great things, but those young people really connected with me because I inspired them to go to a HBCU, and I inspired those two gentlemen to join Alpha Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So that's all of that mentoring, giving back, and just showing parts of myself to them.
So having a background in psychology and knowing what people need, what people seek out, what was the turning point of you studying psychology here and then going to found and lead We Lead Ours?
Yeah, so after I finished here, I was working for Ebon Networks, offline magazine across the street. And then Hurricane Katrina hit. And so I was working there as an advertising consultant. I was really good at it. And I was like, this is really cool. I'm fresh out of college and I'm making this money. And I was like, in my head, I was like, something's going to happen. And Katrina hit. I went back to Oakland, California, and I'm sitting on my grandmother's couch. And she was like, boy, you better go to the Red Cross and get some help. And I was like, what? She was like, you one of those refugees that they talk about on TV. And I was like, I'm not a refugee. She was like, you don't live here anymore. Go down there. So I was like, okay, let me do it. So I went to the Red Cross, and instead of me just asking to get support and help, I literally asked the executive director, what can I do to help y'all? And he said, well, since you're from the Bay Area, you're earthquake country, and you went through a major hurricane, you can go around and talk to young people about being from earthquake country, going through a hurricane, and lessons learned. One of the smartest lessons I learned is back then we had paper leases. So I still had a California ID, but when I was packing my overnight bag, I put my lease in my bag. And so I did the talks, and I went around, and I was on the news, and Sports for Kids called and said, we want you to come work for us. And I was like, okay, well, why not? I'm here. And I was still going to come back to New Orleans. And I was like, okay, I took the job teaching physical education, and I seen the business now of education, because my major was psychology, minor in special ed. So I seen what teachers go through, the experiences, and then I also seen what they make for a living. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if I want to be a classroom teacher, but I do want to do something in education on campus. In 2000, that was 2005, 2006, when I was working for Sports for Kids, I started a male leadership group. So the principal at first tried to give me all of the kids that were behaviorists. And I said, no, I'll take 5 that have horrible behavior. I'll take 5 that are just at school and not participating in anything, and then I'll take 5 of the super leaders, super active groups. And we created a group called MAPS, Men at Power Strategically. From there, that led me to getting these young men being like a junior fraternity on campus. They was doing service learning projects for the school. They started a student store. They raised enough money to take all of their 8th grade class to Great America at the end of the year. We rented a charter bus. So I still work with some of those young men. They still call me. One of them, I went to their baby shower. It was pretty cool.
Oh,
and so that was the blueprint really of my nonprofit. And from there, I bounced around. I worked a little bit, different places, and I took a job at a warehouse. And I was selling reused furniture, and I met a guy there, and he was talking to me. He was like, "You went to Xavier, and you working here?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "But I'm the assistant manager." He was like, "Man, you need to go get your master's." And I was like, I thought about it. He was like, here's my daughter card. She's the recruiter for University of Phoenix. And so I called her, set up the meeting, and we enrolled me into the MBA program. The cool thing about the MBA program, what I realized is that all of psychology classes that I took here, that was literally a lot of the MBA work. You're still looking at the researchers, all the theorists, and you applying it to chain models. And then they took us through a nonprofit class, and that's when I started playing around with my concept, which was the Language of Leaders Institute, and before it was We Lead Ours. And so when I was playing around with that, the last class I got to, you have to do a capstone project, and that's usually redoing somebody's business plan. So I asked the professor, can I pitch my own business plan to the class and create my own business plan? He said yes. So I used the MAPS program, turned it into the Language of Leaders Institute, did all of the research on that, pitched the idea, and I was like, okay, now I leave the program with a business plan, and I pitched my MAPS program to an after-school program. So now I got that set up. Then I got LAPS, Ladies at Power Strategically, so at an elementary servicing 4th and 5th graders. So I got these two projects in an after-school setting set up. And then I linked up with my business partners in 2010, and they had a sports piece. I had the leadership piece. We put them together at the table and said, where we lead ours. We're going to do this together. We've been rocking for 15 years now.
I love that. Your story sounds like it has a lot of you advocating for yourself, which sounds really important. And then it sounds like you were doing, it sounds like almost you always wanted to play a part in giving back. So community service, essentially. So community service often requires both patience and persistence. So in your experience, what has been the most rewarding part of seeing the long-term impact of your work in Oakland, and how do you stay motivated to keep going?
Well, I would say it's a couple of highlights. Highlight one was in 2015 when I got the Xavier 40 Under 40 award. I was like,
congratulations.
That felt really good. I was like, because I only made the honor roll once when I was here. So I was like, oh yes, I finally got it. Got like a golden Xavier award. So that was really good. And to see how people from the university and just other places and programs and people that I knew were following what we were doing in Oakland. And when one summer when I hosted my summer camp, we were going to do it in partnership at a park. And at this time, I stayed in the hood of East Oakland, all the way in the back. And I turned my living room to the meeting space. And when I tell you I had young people, Latino, Pacific Islander, Black youngsters come into my house every morning, every morning, and we had program and we did our field trip from there. I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Anytime you can bring all of those ethnicities together and get those young people working and collaborating together, you know you in the right place, and the work felt good. And so I always put forth the energy to say that if I just roll up my sleeves, do the work, all the fruit from the labor is gonna come. It's gonna come. It might come 10, 15 years down the road, but eventually it's going to come, because anytime you're doing service to others, you're doing important work. I tell people all the time that I created my own education job. And now by me being able to create my own education job, I actually give back. I got contractors that work for me as 1099 contractors. And so I'm like, oh, something you did is actually supporting other families. And so it really feels good. And when you randomly seeing some of the kids that's come through your program, and now they're young adults and they bump into you at the club or something, you're like, wait. I'm like, wait, you're not old enough to be here. They're like, yes, I am, Mr. Aikens. I'm like, okay, it's time for me to stop coming outside. Y'all. But those moments feel good. And then when they tell you about the careers and the things that they have going on, it's a blessing. When you get the random calls from one of them, can you write me a letter of recommendation? That feels good to see them going on a journey. I envision one of my young people that's coming through my program at some point to be the next Mr. Aikens. Like, this is for you, right? So that's the ultimate goal. And then to ultimately get We Lead Ours in other areas, not just in Oakland, but sister cities. I believe we can be in New Orleans, Detroit, Atlanta, all these other metros that need some programming. And the next one will be a lot better, because all the lessons I learned over the past 15 years can put that into making sure the next one don't have all those bumpy roads.
Yeah. I think as a psych major, that's really important, especially a psych major coming from Xavier, where everything is rooted in community service. I absolutely love that your whole model is rooted in community service and giving back to people who have given to you. And you've received multiple community awards, including the Golden State Warriors Community Playmaker Award. What does community service mean to you, and how do you approach it in your daily life?
Well, I just do it. Like when I was here, I was immobilizing at Xavier. So I believe I got a Volunteer of the Year award.
There you go.
And then also the education and the psychology classes that are rooted in youth development, you used to have to have externship hours. So my freshman year, I was at Ursula School, I was at the Calio projects and some of these classes. So I was always doing service work. I was California Club president, so I was bringing that together. I was in student government, so I did pretty much a lot of things. Those Tuesday quick fixes on the yard, like we was one of the groups that started that. So I would set those up and I would chair that and just try to keep the school excited. And I believe you do the work. It frustrates me when we do have organizations that are highly numbered in people and they do community service for a photo op. Like I don't like that. I don't even like when politicians do photo ops. It's like photo ops is like, if you gonna be about the work, I need you to really be about the work and the service. But and simply because volunteer work, community service, that pays my bills. So for me, when I see people just mocking a service project, I'm like, that don't sit right with me, because you're really supposed to be about the work. And I tell other people all the time, it's not about the number of people that come out to a project. It's about if all four of us, we tried to do a community service project and nobody show up, did the project get done? Did we feel good after it? That's what community service is.
Hey there, XU family. Summer is flying by, but the Xavier spirit is just heating up. We're gearing up for one of our favorite summer traditions, and you already know what time it is.
The freshman send-offs are officially underway, and it's giving gold and white roll call from coast to coast.
These send-offs are all about celebrating our incoming students. Whether it's your legacies, your mentees, or maybe even your neighbor's kid, it's all about jumpstarting their Xavier journey.
It's the perfect moment for alumni to show support, drop some wisdom, and welcome the newest class with a little of that Xavier excellence that we all know and love.
So don't miss out. Click the link in our podcast description to find a send-off near you.
Show up, be loud, and remind these future Xavierites that once you're a part of this family, you're in it for life.
Xavier is definitely really big on service. I feel like it teaches us service almost every day.
For sure.
Yes.
After looking into your profession and the major influence that you have made on Xavier's campus and beyond, we'd love for you to take a blast from the past and relive your experience. So, the year is 2000. You're walking to your next class wearing your favorite graphic tee and the baggiest pair of jeans you have. You're listening to the newest hit from Warren G on your MP3 player when it suddenly stopped and interrupted by the ringing of the chapel bell. You stop and take a deep breath to soak in the campus life, and then it hits you that you are really starting your journey as a Xavierite. So tell me a little bit about what the atmosphere in campus life felt like at this time and how it shaped your journey.
We had the old student union, and so we'd go there for breakfast. That's where everybody congregated. That line used to be long, you'll be waiting for hours to get in that cafeteria.
Glad they fixed that.
Yeah, so I would say I was always social, and so I met a lot of people like instantly, and so you get your tribes. And so I was with tribes that I was friends with this tribe, friends with this tribe, this one, and these two might not like each other, but everybody, Dwayne was kind of like the nucleus. So I brought people together. Always, when I was here, we were the Cali boys. So, we had all of our class of 2004. Everybody had group names. And so everybody, we was the Cali boys, and we threw house parties. We threw house parties. So our first one that we did was at the Sheraton our sophomore year. So we rented out the Sheraton. We worked on it all second semester, all of the during the summer. We met. We was on the phone, hashed it out, and we rented the space, and we called it Chocolate City. We named it after a thin line between 11 and 8. But that party, you can ask if y'all got family members down in here. Y'all can ask them about Chocolate City party at the Sheraton. But we hosted parties. Another memorable moment was the Mr. Freshman pageant. I didn't win, but
It's okay.
I didn't win, but we did a skit from Rocky, and my name was Mr. All-American. And so that was good, but just I'm still friends with my friends. And it's a beautiful thing. Like, we're celebrated our 20th year this year, and it's like we never missed a beat. And it's partially due to summer camp. I mean, not summer camp. It's partially due to coming back and then always being on social media, and you connect with people. So I feel like the connections I made here are really genuine. The lessons learned was really around time management from Dr. Blanchard Wilson. I had her at Xavier South on Tuesday and Thursday after lunch, so I should never be late to that class, right? But the yard on nice day outside, the first week of school, the yard is turned up, so you like, okay, I don't want to go to class just yet. I'm going to stay out here a little while longer. So Tuesday, I got to that class. Instead of at 1:15, I got there at 1:30.
Pushing that 15-minute
She didn't
mark.
say nothing. She didn't say anything, but the next Thursday, I tried to do it again. And she read me my Miranda rights. Like, she knew my address. She knew my grandmother's name.
Oh, wow.
And she said, do I need to call Miss Williams and have her to walk you to class because her grown grandson can't get to class on time?
Oh,
man.
I couldn't say nothing. I was just like, I'm from Oakland Public Schools, so I'm like, Oakland Unified, so I'm like, can't nobody tell me nothing. And I'm like, oh no, this is a private institution.
This is real.
And you can't buck up on the teacher here. You will get sent home permanently.
for sure.
And so that was a lesson learned, just learning how to be coached and actually what an academic institution really is. Because again, the reason why I do a lot of the work that I do is because our kids, especially in urban schools and underfunded schools, they're not getting a real academic lesson of like what an academic institution is. And so we have to instill that in the young people. And fast forward, Dr. Blanchard Wilson, she literally went on our website, and this was probably 5 or 6 years when we were into business, and she went on the website and she called and she said, I just want to let you know I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
and so
that's wonderful.
So that connection, even with your professors, you connect with them, and they're helpful.
I know you touched on it lightly and, talking about the community and everything that you guys had at Xavier back then. Were you involved in any different student orgs, leadership roles at Xavier, and how did those experiences prepare you for the work that you do now today?
Yeah, psychology club. I was in mobilizing at Xavier. I was in student government. I was the liaison for our class president senior year. Did I say California Club
Cali
president?
Boys.
Yeah, California Club president. I organized parties. Let's see. I did for one of my professors, Sister Blum. I would go and set up all of her classes. She was elderly, so I would go grab the cart. At that time, we didn't have the fancy projectors and stuff in class, but we had to go pick it up, and I had to go and set it up in class, and I'd come back to her class and break it down. And she paid me $150. She paid me $150 a month. That was a lot of money for a college student back then, because we was broke. We had a dance troupe here, so we would dance, did talent shows.
Wow.
It was fun. It was fun. It was smaller, but it was
definitely fun.
It was
Sounds
fun.
like
We had a lot of fun.
So I know you were in that psych club and you were majoring in psychology. How do you feel like your studies in psychology at Xavier influence your understanding of human behavior and its connection to leadership? And do you feel like you still apply that knowledge today in your work? Yeah,
I apply the knowledge. One thing is learning that there's no such thing as a bad child, and there's no such thing as being special ed. I love the fact that Xavier changed it to exceptional learning, and that's what they call the special education when in the classroom. And so understanding behavioral health, classroom management. I'm not a credentialed teacher, but I can go in any classroom and organize that class and lead a lesson and get the kids to sit down and listen. And it's that structure piece that's not there. And understanding that I was just like those young people that I'm trying to reach, and now that I know what I know, I can hold you accountable towards being a healthy, young, great student. So, yeah, everything that I do with from psychology, it comes into play with my career as the executive director, because I don't just serve as the executive director. I have a caseload, and I'm in some of the schools doing the work too. So I'm seeing everything that my case managers are seeing, and I'm able to also mold them and train them and develop them. The writing, I would say that the level that Xavier make you write, you're going to run circles out around some of the people that you get into these master programs with, because some of their universities don't make them write as much as we have to write. It was times where I had classes where I had a paper due in like 4 classes. I'm like, whoa. Yes. But you do the work. The tip that I would give y'all young people is get that syllabus and look at that paper, write it early, turn it into the professor early, get feedback. Yeah. They'll bring you that paper back. You make the edits. That increase your GPA so that multiple choice tests won't chop your grades down as much. So, so definitely the writing, the level of learning. Theories and personality is still one of my favorite classes. Abnormal psychology, that was fun with Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois. So that was really cool. Like, the teachers were really cool. The content, now that I'm in the field, I can totally see what Dr. Schulte was talking about, IV and DV. At the time, that went all over my head. I was like, what is an IV? What is a DV? And I was laughing maybe like last year, and I was like, that's what Dr. Schulte was talking about, the independent variable. That's the independent variable right there. And it was like, okay, now I get it. I understand what I have to do. And I definitely love the fact that Xavier is a school that instills service. The school is always giving back to something. And to see the campus grow and be this beautiful, it lets us know as alumni that the money that we're raising for the school is coming back to the school. To walk in y'all classroom, see them highly teched up and stuff, like, okay, Xavier is competing on a level that is supposed to compete on, seeing some of the infrastructure come up. I'm like, oh, when they was asking us questions when we were here, the board really was listening, taking some of our advice so that you guys can have the things that you need. The way that y'all fight for the mass comm department to make sure that mass communications is very important. Like, and especially with the level of fake news that we have going on, it's important that we have quality folks going into the mass communication field and department. So I love this podcast and everything that you guys got going on here.
Thank you. I think that that's really important, that a Xavier can really walk into any room and outshine anybody that comes from a Yale or a Harvard, and just like that HBCU, especially Xavier, that Xavier curriculum that they give us is so advanced, and when we're going out into the real world, that's what they really prepare us for. So I want to ask you, what does the meaning of being a Xavierite mean to you, and how do you carry that identity in the work that you do with We Lead Ours?
Yeah, so being proud, just being proud of the legacy and understanding that you have a commitment. I remember Dr. Brookover, she told us that you are not the degree, you don't work for that degree. That degree is supposed to work for you. So if you can't figure out how to make your degree have value, you need to realign your goals. How is this degree going to help you propel forward? I think the educators, I feel like all the professors talk to us about entrepreneurialism, like it's hidden in everything. And if you start looking at a lot of the alumni that come back, many of them may have started off as medical doctors. Now they're branching out and doing their own business.
Own practices.
And stuff like that. The school it teaches us to be competitive. It teaches us to be on point, on task. I remember one time I had a colleague that was working with our org, and he's a white male, and I'm super, I I dress like this sometimes on a campus, or it's just my personality to have on a nice pair of shoes and some pants or a sweater or something like that. So his interpretation was like, somebody that's doing drug intervention coaching, why you don't wear no jorts and no jeans and no, I'm like, because that's not my authentic self. If I walk up on the campus and I'm looking like that, they'll be like, what is Mr. Aikens or what is Coach Dwayne up to? That's not how he dressed. That's not how he act. That's not his authentic self. And so knowing your authentic self is very critical and important so that you can stay on task with your own personal mission statement. But Xavier gave me a chance. It took me off of 90th and Bancroft. It brought me here. It showed me the diversity of different type of black people, right? My mom was was on drugs. My dad was in and out of jail. I was raised by a grandmother. Two of my uncles were murdered before I even graduated from high school. One was always in jail. And so I was typically the third oldest, but I was like the oldest. So I'm like the uncle to many of my first cousins because we didn't have any uncles around. And so for me to come here and see that there's this multitude of black people, there are black families that are homeowners and that own things, that are two parents in the house, third generation college and stuff like that. So to see that level of diverse black folks, it really helped me. It taught me to take down my guard, not be so nuck if you buck, if you will, but actually learn to listen to people. Don't take everything as we got to fight now because it's not that serious. We can agree to disagree. So that's really what it taught me, agree to disagree. The math department I remember I had a second grade teacher, and she used to get mad at me because I would draw lines on the paper, but I would get the right answer, and she wouldn't give me the points because she wanted me to just do it specifically like this and not have all of them decorations. And so I didn't realize until coming here that I brought that trauma from the second grade into college. And the professor said, just get the right answer. I don't care what you got to do. If you figure out a way and it's the right answer, I'm not deducting your points because your mind is working this way. And it's okay. So I love that about the university. I love the fact that you can disagree with the professor's opinion in a paper or their perspective, and they won't hold it against you. As long as you articulate and you're able to prove why you believe that, that is so important. And I feel like we're in a place now in our country to where we don't know how to agree to disagree. Everybody who disagree with pop culture, it's automatically an ism. And so we gotta move past that so we can work collaboratively together. And so I always try to show that. I try to model that for the kids and families that I work with. Like, it's okay for somebody to disagree with you. It don't mean that they hate you. And all of those things are important.
Yeah, I definitely understand that, and I agree with you. And it almost sounds like you were a leader almost all your life, but it definitely sounds like Xavier helped pull that out of you. Xavier is known for producing leaders who make positive impacts in their communities. So were there any professors or mentors that you felt like helped you to create the leader style that you have right now?
Yeah, at the time, I didn't really understand the fraternity politics. And so my older cousin, Lawrence Aikens, he's an alpha, and he was pretty super active. So he knew the adults on campus. And so I had eyes here looking at me already that I didn't even know was paying attention to me, that were adults. But Dean Bird was a good check-in buddy. He was a good check-in buddy. He mentored probably all of us. And the way the school was set up then, it was so condensed. He can see everybody. So he was on us tough. Sister Blum was amazing. Miss McLean, she is still amazing. She's still here doing her thing. Kimberly Reese, all of those people really mattered. Dr. Blanchard Wilson, those folks really mattered. They really were nurturing and uplifting, and they held you accountable. Dr. Schulte, too. I remember I tried to lie and say something happened to a family member and I couldn't do something.
She don't play.
She was like, what would your grandma say?
She does not play.
What would your grandma want you to do? I was like, the folks at San Jose State and San Francisco State said they can get away with those things. You can't get away with that here.
Yeah.
Like, what would your grandma say? I was like, oh, that lie don't work. That lie don't work. So, yeah, the accountability level. And then I think and Mr. Ridgel was here as well, being able to partner directly with the adults to put on an event or an activity, I think that's the blueprint for success. I think that's why most individuals that come from HBCUs get into workplaces and they're a lot stronger. They can hit the ground on day one because they have more opportunity and leadership opportunities versus being at a PWI to where it's a million kids and maybe only one of them decide to go into student government and all the rest are just numbers on campus and don't join any social clubs and they just there. And so they haven't had that level of prep to shadow and to model and to pretty much be partnering with the leadership to run the school. That's pretty much what happens here. Mm-hmm. So I think all of those ingredients are blueprints for success.
Well, now we're going to get into my personal favorite segment of the podcast. It is time to rush our golden guest into answering some rapid fire questions.
I knew they was coming.
This segment of the podcast is called the Live Five. We're going to ask you 5 questions that we think our gold community would love to know. First question, if you could define your Xavier homecoming experience in one word, what would it be?
Lit.
What would you say was your favorite organization on campus?
The California Club.
What is one fashion trend from your time at Xavier that you wish you could bring back?
The Steve Maddens.
Were you most likely found on the yard or in the library?
The Yard.
And last but not least, what is your go-to food spot off of campus?
We never close.
Is that still around?
I don't know. It was in New Orleans East.
I don't go to the East very
Yeah.
often. We have to try it out. We're going to have a list.
I don't either. Well, again, Dwayne, it was a pleasure connecting with you, a fellow alum, through conversation. How can our growing gold community connect with you online?
You can follow me on Instagram, D, and then the word elegance, Welo, W-E-L-O. I'm actually going to delete my Twitter, but you can follow me on Instagram or LinkedIn, Dwayne Anthony Aikens Jr. LinkedIn or Instagram would be best because Facebook got too many